have the career that we do, like the independent artist career without social media. Like
Absolutely.
it has been massively instrumental in all of us being able to do what we want to do. The only aspect that I really hate about social media is the chasing the virality and chasing the algorithm constantly. So like one of the things that I'm really trying to do and trying to focus on with my social media is just being authentic to me and like being who I am. And if doing video content is not authentic to me, I'm only going to do it when I feel like it. Like I'm not going to go out of my way to try and chase all these viral trends because it just doesn't make sense for me. And if that means that I'm going to very, very slowly grow my TikTok following, then that's fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah. And like, I was definitely lucky that I was able to grow my Instagram during the time when like photos were all the rage. And it's kind of crazy to like see the difference. And I have to also like remind myself all the time, just because you used to get 3,000 likes on a photo doesn't mean that it's your fault that you're not getting that anymore. It's because Instagram has changed its algorithm. It's not on you, it's on them. It's like just reminding yourself that the comparison factor is going to ruin everything. Like you just have to do what's best for you and not compare yourself to other people and other creators.
Because you get wrapped up in that and then it can like ruin your day. Like I've literally had days where, like I get up and I'm like, wow, like they don't really care. Like it's not, da da da. And everybody's like the star of their own story. Obviously, like you're living your own life. We're all living our own lives. And it just gets in your head sometimes to where you like let this thing that has nothing to do with how your personal life or your career is going.
Yeah, your self-worth.
Yes. Yeah. And I definitely, it has these like long-term ramifications. And I would say 1 in every 2 people are like addicted to it. It's definitely addiction.
I would say more than that.
Probably more than that.
Yeah. Especially since we've been stuck inside with the pandemic for 2 years. Like I know everyone's screen time went up tenfold. I know mine did. Like,
oh yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. It's such an interesting like juxtaposition because it is such a good tool, but it's also like can be a slippery slope of your self-worth getting roped into, did I get enough likes on this photo, which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
The fact that we say that, even like the fact even saying that out loud is just like, what?
Yeah.
Rough.
And it's interesting too, because just because you have a huge Instagram following or get a bunch of likes on a photo doesn't mean that your music following is growing. It doesn't mean your Spotify followers are growing. It doesn't mean your streaming numbers are growing. It doesn't mean anything other than not anything, because a lot of the times it does. But it's interesting to see the correlations where like, I genuinely don't believe you have to have a huge Instagram following or TikTok following or something like that for your music to grow. And I think that's daunting for a lot of new artists to be like, if I don't have 100,000 Instagram followers, I'm going to fail.
Yep. Oh,
I had almost 30,000 followers on Instagram and it never translated to listeners. Right. Never.
Which is so cool that you're able to share content and have those people interact with your Instagram content. But how do we shift the attention?
Yeah, exactly. But I learned, like, obviously I learned the hard way. It doesn't really matter, like, how many followers you have on Instagram if they're not turning into clicks on your music. Like, that's what's most important. So I don't think it's super important to grow your Instagram following as fast as you can. I think it's super important because that's not what I did. I did the opposite and it didn't work. Yeah. So just learn from my mistakes and don't do that.
It's most important to tell the authentic story. It's most important to show up as yourself. And if that resonates with people, then eventually, it is going to translate into listens and streams and actual real fans, not people that are like, oh, you're hot, I'm going to follow you on Instagram. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oversimplify it, but
No,
but that's exactly what it is. Exactly.
That's exactly what it is. It's exactly like, but it's all of these things that feed into this like wheel of things that we have to hone in as we present this like as ourselves. Because to say that, talent buyers, especially like in this niche industry, don't look at your social media following is not true. They definitely do. And you've seen people pop off because of their social media following. And then that translates into their music. But you've also had people pop off from their social media following. And then 2 years later, they're lower than they were before because there was never any organic growth, and there was never any, it was like a plug and play kind of deal. And
Right.
there's so many people. I mean, you see it on like corporate agencies, you see it on boutique agencies where there are these placeholders that for some out of 100 reasons are on the agency, and they fill this placeholder. And the people that I feel like are able to live the career to the fullest and have the longest career shelf life are the ones that are like kind of building those houses out of brick, and they're gonna
Yeah.
take longer to build. But as long as you're building your organic base and your organic following from that, like that's all that matters, because you're like, okay, are these bots gonna like buy my merch or buy my tickets or like
Yeah.
buy
Are
this?
they going to show up at shows? No, they're
Yeah.
not.
Or am I
The
just gonna have
creepy
like
men asking me for feet
Um,
pictures are not buying my merch. I can
no,
promise.
not at all. And I mean, I definitely think that's something else too that guys don't like traditionally deal with. Where I
Yeah.
mean, I get it, like you have the rave girls that are like all in it for the DJs, like for sure. But as like a woman, it's really it can be like a really muddy line to toe where you're like, okay, like is she an artist or is she like an influencer or is she like a
Yeah.
hot girl DJ,
And you
hot
have to be
girl
both.
thing? And you
You
have
have to be
you have to
both.
be all of them. And you have to be all of them. And to like clearly communicate a message takes time. And I think that's
Yeah.
just building on like the foundation and roots that you hold true to yourself, and then like continuing on. And it is a long journey. I mean, you guys just said you've been doing top lines for like 6-7 years. Like this is a long road. And like most of the time before you know somebody, they've been doing it for 10 years. You get that mid to late 20s that you really start to see somebody like come into their own. There's very, very few people just kind of snap and make it happen. And those people usually aren't around 5 years from now.